You're listening to the Last Man In podcast. Covering Winnipeg hockey and the NHL.
Scheifele dances his way in. Scheifele scores! Blake Wheeler finds the far corner. And the Winnipeg Jets win it in overtime. Woo, woo, woo.
This week on Last Man In podcast, Subban's terrible breath, which is the most overblown story in the history of news. Possible Kovalchuk return to the NHL and what teams would be interested in him. And of course, the Stanley Cup Final featuring Nashville's Game 3 and 4 wins over the Pittsburgh Penguins. Which team's centerman might not return for a return next season into the NHL. The play at Pekka Arena, and also just briefly talk about the expansion draft. Episode 148, Cam, myself, Greg, and guest host extraordinaire Matthew.
The replacement.
Matthew, yes, replacement host.
Yeah, he's here.
And wearing no sleeves. As it's summertime, I was the only one that was told.
No sleeves.
Didn't get the memo about no sleeves.
Sun's out, guns out.
Yeah.
That's what they say.
I see
Is
that.
it really surprising?
It's not. It really isn't.
Yeah.
So before we get into the meat of the podcast, which is going to be talking about games 3 and 4, let's talk about the event that happened at the end of game 3. Subban and Crosby get together and they just have a little chat. And for some reason, on TSN, Sportsnet, Bar Down, it was the story to talk about from Game 3. Not Nashville winning the game. Not Nashville's okay, well, the fans are been overblown as well. But Subban's bad breath and how overblown the story is. Is it very much just because it's slow news right now that nothing's happening, that this is so focused on? And, people care?
No, it's because people don't want to talk about Nashville winning. Because Pittsburgh has to win the cup because they're Pittsburgh.
Oh, wow, a Pittsburgh fan noticing there's a bias.
No, come on, I was joking. But
There's
still,
clearly a bias.
there's a bit of a bias, but people are saying it's the officiating making the bias, and it's not, because the officiating's been fine all series.
I would say there's been time. I thought in Pittsburgh there was a little bit of a bias. Rene got hit very clearly by Crosby.
And Murray got hit 3 minutes before that, so don't give me that.
No, that did not
Everything that happened
Yeah,
to
see,
Pittsburgh...
even your reaction
Yeah.
of, no, it didn't happen. That's just because everyone, unless you actually, unless you're cheering for the Pens, which seems like a minority at this point, everyone else wants Nashville to win.
Because people hate superpowers.
How is it their fault that they're
it's not,
good
it's
at
not their
building a
fault,
franchise?
but this is what is good for hockey. This is what is good for the sport. And
It's superpowers.
It's superpowers.
Yeah.
Because you need to grow fan bases from hatred. That's why Tiger Woods rose to the power that he was. That is why no other golfer has been able to touch him. Not only because of how good he was at winning, it was also the takeover the media had, because you couldn't watch golf without Tiger being there, because he was what was selling tickets. He was what was getting people to watch. Not only because people loved him, but because people hated him.
The women loved him too.
Well, we already know that.
Yes. This is how you grow sports. As much as people hate LeBron James or hate the fact that it's Golden State, Cleveland, people are tuning in. As much as people hate Tom Brady, people are tuning in to watch him fail. People are tuning in right now to watch the Pittsburgh Penguins fail. And that's one of the things that I'm taking a lot of solace in right now, because I don't want them to win, because I like parity in the league, but it's because Nashville is so easy to get behind. They're such a fun fan base.
I don't care who wins. I just want the best team to win. I really
Yeah.
couldn't care who
No.
it is. If Pittsburgh wins, Pittsburgh wins. And if Nashville wins, Nashville wins. They're the better team. It doesn't bother me.
I think so far,
Until my team's there, I don't care.
and your team obviously being the Jets.
Yes.
I think what we've seen this year is definitely a battle of 4 different games. Every game has really been different. The story in Game 1 was the fact that Pittsburgh couldn't get a shot. The story in Game 2 was that Rene was awful for a 3-minute span that cost them that game. Game 3 was simply whatever it was, whether it was just hard will, they were getting pucks past Murray for the first time all series. Their chances were going in. And then Game 4, power plays. Power plays is what's saving Nashville this series so far. They're getting few and far between, because Pittsburgh doesn't take a lot of penalties. And you even watch their play. It's not like they're a dirty team. They're not high-sticking or hooking guys after the play. They're getting penalties few and far between, but Nashville's capitalizing. Like, going into Game 3, they had a 40% power play. Any team that has that should be having some sort of an edge in a playoff series.
Yeah.
But I think the player for me that stood out the most in the last 2 games was Pekarine's play.
Or PK Subban for his flops.
Wow.
He's driving me crazy.
I'm with you on
But
that.
it's
Blocks the
gamesmanship.
shot and then throws his gloves up to get a whistle. It's just, what are you
Gamesmanship.
doing?
And it sucks, and I don't agree with it. I think that kind of stuff needs to be taken out of the game. But at the same time, it's gamesmanship. You're trying to get every advantage you can. And would I say the same? I'd probably be bitching if Crosby did that, which he would never do because he's.
Well, you did bitch about a certain Pittsburgh Penguin when he
Bonino.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's gamesmanship.
Yeah.
It happens. It's what I did bitch about.
Well, it's a little different when a stick's coming near your face. Like,
Yeah, you do.
No, but
if
he
anything
got
comes
the-
near
he
your
was just trying to
face,
get
you're
the
gonna
call.
jerk
He's-
around. I don't think he meant to do it on. He could have done it on purpose, but anything comes near my face, I'm jumping back too because I don't want to get hit in the face.
Yeah.
No, that's completely fair. Like,
But when Subban gets hit in like his thigh, and then all of a sudden he's throwing his gloves up, and it's embarrassing for the league. It is.
I didn't know. I didn't notice the glove toss. The only thing that I noticed after, they blew the whistle dead. PK's skating back, being held back, and he's like, "Oh, let's go, boys!" And I'm like, "What?" Like, no one who's actually hurt would be doing that. They'd be like, "Oh, I'm gonna maybe milk it and then say it when I'm on the bench," instead of like he's not even at the bench yet, and he's hyping the crowd up. So I didn't like that. But then again, whatever you can do to get an advantage, I do understand.
When did Kunitz cross-check? Was it game 2?
Yeah.
How do you get cross-checked in the back of the head, throw your gloves up, roll around on the ice, and then get right out there for the power play?
Isn't there a rule where
it should have been a 15-minute because he got hit in the head, but no, because it's the playoffs. And Subban, you could tell he was diving. Like there was no way he wasn't embellishing it.
He embellished, and I think that's a situation where maybe a ref calls it embellishment, or the league says that's $5,000. It's nothing to PK Subban.
Well, exactly.
It's a 2-minute power play, but $5,000 is still $5,000 when you're not getting paid.
Well,
You're not getting paid for
I'm
playoffs,
sure with
right?
this endorsement and his $9 million. How much is he making?
No, he
a year?
could.
He's making
9
$9 million.
Yeah,
9.8.
9. There you go.
9.8?
So with that, either
No,
way,
maybe it's $9 million.
I think it's 9.
It was 8 for
9.5.
9, right?
$5,000 to
Something like
$9 million is really not a
nothing.
lot of money.
No, it's nothing.
It's
to
like
That's-
it's like 50 cents to somebody who makes.
Well,
$100
if
a
we're
day.
putting it in PK Subban time, it's him walking down the tunnel in his suit
Yeah.
to the game. Is $5,000 for PK Subban. So, I
He
mean, I
spends
think he's
that-
got time to walk up a tunnel on the way out of the game, so he'll make that
He
back.
probably spends that on one paper or one roll of toilet paper because he can. Why? Because he
I
can.
hope he doesn't. I hope he
golden
doesn't.
toilet paper.
I hope he puts it towards at least a suit or something
Yeah, no.
instead of
exactly
toilet paper.
Into another wing in a hospital. Then the team's going to trade him.
He's still doing great stuff with that, so that's fantastic. But at least in this, what I understand, whatever you can do to gain an advantage is what he's going for. And obviously, I mean, home ice is everything in this playoffs right now. But I mean, all the momentum's now with Nashville, like on the past 2 games.
You know what this is reminding me of is the
Boston,
Pittsburgh.
Vancouver?
No, Pittsburgh, Detroit.
From 2009 when Pittsburgh
When
won?
Pittsburgh won because they traded back and forth, and then Game 7 it finally
Flipped. And it was the same thing with Boston and Vancouver. And the stories in that series, I don't know if you guys remember this, but I definitely do.
Goaltender.
The story was Roberto Luongo plays great in Vancouver when he's at home, goes to Boston, gets shelled for 6 goals and 7 goals, I think, in 2 games there.
You know
Then-
why? It's because no one was pumping his tires.
No one was pumping his tires, exactly. Then goes into in Game 5 has a shutout and played outstanding. Then Game 6 gets shelled again, and then Game 7 was.
Didn't
Game
Schneider go in for Game 6?
7. No, he might have come in to help relieve. They pulled
I
him
thought he
twice.
got this start.
No, I think they pulled him twice in that series.
The only thing, apart from the goaltending and the crowd, that was so definitive to me about that series was Brad Marchand and Alex Burrows, how Burrows allegedly bit one of the guys. And so Brad Marchand, the
He was
moment that
Bergeron,
happened,
he
the
bit.
next
It was
game...
Bergeron.
Well, either way, the next game
Yeah.
after that, every whistle, players are putting their gloves fingers straight out at their other players' mouths. And I was like, this is so weird.
It wasn't Burrows, it was Lapierre.
Oh, Max Lapierre. Either way, they were doing it to
Burrows
everyone.
has bitten someone before, though. I remember
Yeah, I'm not
that.
surprised.
He's also done.
But it was. I thought it was Bergeron that got bit by Lapierre. But
No, that's what. Yeah,
That's
that's
what
what
his
I
Bergeron
mentioned.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what? That series was awesome. I remember watching Game 7 where it finally.
You know what? That whole playoffs was like. I remember the Chicago-Vancouver series was unbelievable too that year.
And
Was
that's
that
what
with,
they thought.
That was where Burrows. I think it was Burrows that scored
Burrows
the overtime
scored the
winner in
overtime.
Game
Yeah.
7.
Who is the D? Number 4, Chris Campoli. He missed the puck. Oh, I remember that because I was watching it with Dan at his house.
No, he cleared it and it hit one.
Oh, Burrows jumped and reached.
for
Okay.
it, and then it got out to the middle, and Niemi overplayed it and went too high. And
That was Game
gave him-
7 overtime?
Yeah, and gave him
I
that
remember that.
chance.
Yeah. And I remember stories of a friend of mine who was saying he was in his over at his friend's house. There was a bunch of them, but they were told, like, be quiet, our parents work in the morning. And he just, like, stood up and was like, fucking right! Yeah! Because he was just a huge Canucks fan. Oh, I remember that. Like, it was nobody's business. But, I understand. Oh, for sure. But it's just we all have those stories. Like, I only remember the last time the Flyers made the playoffs. They had a Sunday afternoon game, and my sister had a few friends over to sleep over, and I didn't know any of her friends were over. And then, so I tune in to watch the game. Next thing you know, I'm just like, my face is pressed against the television screen. I'm like, fuck you, Lundqvist. I hate you. I hate you. Why don't you die? Like, and I'm just going crazy. And one of her friends opens the door. She's like, Cam, are you okay? And I'm like, what are you doing here? And she's like, we're hungover. We stayed the night. And I'm like, oh my God, how many people are here? She's like, there's like 5 of us. We've been listening to you yell for about half hour now. And like the moment she walked in, literally my forehead was on the TV. I'm like, I hate you. Die. Why are you so good? You're ruining everything. I remember that too because it was a Couturier breakaway and he just robbed him blind. He took everything from him.
That's the Toronto-Boston.
I don't need to be reminded of that.
That's
those
the
playoffs
memory.
didn't actually happen.
That's the memory I have because
You know-
everyone was just sitting there, like all the Leafs fans. I don't think you were tweeting much about it, but I know Woody was and stuff.
He was being careful.
Yeah.
He was being careful.
There was no reception in Dan's basement, so it saved me. It saved me.
That's true.
Everyone was, the game's over. The Leafs are going to the second
That
round,
was
and I'm sitting there, I'm like, there's no way this game is not getting at least close.
Well,
I literally just started tweeting at people, just wait. And then all of a sudden, bam.
Well, when fans get up, like I've seen it. I've been on both sides of it, where it's like your team's down, but you're like, you know what, I'm gonna ride this out. I'm watching it. Or where your team's up and you're like, I'm gonna tweet. It's gonna be awesome. But then I've gone to do it before, and then I'm like, well, wait, just patience. This could really hurt you. This could hurt. And I only do that because I was there with Greg live when that happened. We were all excited. Like I think we were all going for the Leafs, honestly. Like maybe Dan wasn't fully for the Leafs, but he was more just in support of Greg. And I wanted the Leafs. And then it started happening, and when they scored, that was an overtime that they scored?
Yeah.
When they scored, that was the quietest I've ever seen Greg, but like scary quiet. Where like I didn't even want to be. I should have just walked home. Like I was scared to get in the car because I didn't know if Greg was going to take a right and go on the highway and maybe just test out his life for a second. I don't know. It was terrifying.
I made it through the 2013 collapse. I made it through the Falcons Super Bowl collapse. I am prepared for anything that life throws at me.
No,
now.
life's turning around because as Dan, even
anything that life throws at me, I'm prepared
we'll bring
for
it centralized to like where we are right now. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers haven't won a Grey Cup since what year? 1990.
90, yeah.
90. That was the first. Detroit. Every time Detroit's made the playoffs in this run,
Yeah.
Bombers haven't won.
Started in 91. So it's happening.
Bombers might win the championship. Now let's just be clear.
That's the logic we're going on.
Yeah, you need hope. You got to grab onto something at this point. 25 years. Now let's just 26 now.
Yeah,
26 years.
If they don't win this year.
Okay. Well, you got to grab onto hope or anything at this point. Let's just put this. I'll just clear it up for everyone. The CFL is usually 8 teams. At some points, it's had 9.
It's 9 right now.
9 teams. Some points it's had 7. Some points it's had like 10.
It's had 12.
12.
Its
Either
highest
way.
point. And
So
it had a team in Las Vegas. It had a team in Baltimore who actually won.
Oh, and you know what? I'm tweeting that one. The Baltimore Canadian anthem. Remember that guy singing it? Ooh, he sang it to the tune of God Bless America.
Yeah.
It was so bad. But just to clear up, if we're going off, I know this isn't how sports work, but like if everything was fair, the Bombers should have won it at least 3 times now.
Yeah,
Well,
but
there
life
was
isn't
that year
fair.
that Kevin Glenn broke his arm. And
Oh, his hand.
His hand.
Yeah.
Either way, back on to hockey.
Yeah.
So the biggest story to come out of Games 3 and 4 is obviously the fans. But there's a lot of people who are on the other side. Like, there's fans like us who are embracing it, think it's great hockey culture. This is what we need. We need more markets to be like this.
Hilarious.
Then you see the angry fans on the other side, the like my sport but don't like my sport fans that are, well, these guys are just fair weather fans because they're in the playoffs. They're not actual real fans. For those who are wondering, Nashville Predator games have been 96 to 99% sold out since 2010.
They're amazing fans.
They not only is it a hockey city, not only does the team generate revenue, not only is it an event that people go to.
You get a free mini concert.
Yeah, exactly.
You get to see it in a top tier country singer have a mini concert and a different one sing the anthems.
Yeah.
Who's game 6?
It's
don't know
gotta be
who's
Garth.
left.
It's got to be Garth. It's the only one left.
Yeah,
Wait,
it's the
wait, wait.
only one
Oh, wait. Game 6 would be their last home game in the playoffs.
Yeah.
You go back to the singer, the anthem.
Oh,
You owe it to him. There's no way you don't owe it to him. They offered Garth Brooks to sing it, and he said, because his wife sang it instead, he's like, can I give it to my wife as a surprise? And they were like, well,
she's a good country singer,
You're
too.
Garth Brooks, but maybe you shouldn't surprise an anthem on someone. They might forget the lyrics. And he's like, oh, happy birthday to G. And you're like, get out of here, you creepy old man. I only say that because Garth Brooks has an alternate personality. If you got some time, type in Garth Brooks talking about himself in the form of G. Ooh. Anyways.
The Facebook thing?
To answer your question, yes, that too. Hey, friends.
Okay,
Just trying to
regardless.
Sorry, yeah.
Topic on
Answer
it.
question, you go back to the anthem singer.
Dennis K.
That-
Morgan?
Dude, that would fix everything. That would fix everything forever.
Um,
I'm going with Dennis K. Morgan. Who are you going with, Greg? And then Matt will answer his own question.
I think you go Tim McGraw.
Tim McGraw, is that the guy married to
Faith
Nicole
Hill.
Kidman?
Faith Hill.
Hill.
Keith Urban is married to
And he's already sang.
Wait. When is Game 6?
Sunday.
Yes.
Oh, okay, well, because Faith Hill and Tim McGraw are on tour right now. They're in Winnipeg on tomorrow. So, if they
That might not work.
Yeah,
Because they might have a show Sunday.
Yeah.
I didn't realize they were on.
I'm pretty sure Tim McGraw's got the pull to be like, I don't even know what he sounds like. But he's like, I'm going to go sing an anthem. I'm going to just pause the concert. I'll be back. Half price
Saskatoon.
shirts.
He probably has Saskatoon Sunday. He's like, oh, Saskatoon.
No, Saskatoon you do the next day. For sure.
No, you do Regina next day.
Oh, Regina,
Then
Saskatoon.
you do Saskatoon.
You can't. No, he's probably in Calgary, Edmonton. You don't back out of Albertans.
No.
Oh.
They'll
Then
kill
Tim
you.
McGraw's gone. Who's
They'll-
Tim McGraw? We'll give you option B now. We'll get option B. I don't even know country singer. Who's that one? One man's trash.
No, he's Canadian. They won't bring him there
Why not?
because it's.
Another man's cold.
Oh my god.
Okay, who is your guess? Okay, while you're thinking, Matt, who do you got?
Well, just because he was there on yesterday.
Jason Aldean?
Jason Aldean, I think.
Oh, that guy, yeah, the tubbier dude
Yeah.
who's playing in the back.
I
I mean,
think-
he's not like huge by no
No.
means. Just his face is round. That's
Maybe
what
Zach Brown.
Is that the
That'd
guy?
be a good one too,
Chicken
actually.
fried on a Tuesday night.
Oh my god, yes.
Cold
Stop
beer that tastes
butchering
just
country
right.
music.
And the radio at an average acceptable level.
So,
What's your? Oh yeah, you said Alvin.
no, I said Zach
Oh,
Brown.
ZBBZ. Right. Okay, got it.
Okay, back to the original topic.
Yeah.
Before we have to ixnay you singing. You're not allowed to sing
Never.
anymore on this
No,
podcast.
that's not happening.
Okay. The next thing I wanted to say was about the fans. Is it a fair weather thing? Like, obviously, 96, 99% isn't a fair weather, but what would you say to somebody saying, oh, it's just fair weather fans?
What would I say to them?
Yeah. And
They
like
have-
being like,
Go ahead.
well, and then being like, well, they're just relishing in the moment for having a Stanley Cup team.
Okay, I'll have 2 points on this. I'll
Okay.
say mine right now. Point 1. They had fans in the stand when they had mustard yellow awful jerseys.
Yeah.
Point 1. So they're real. Point 2. I'll just use Winnipeg as the example. I know many people, like even friends who don't watch hockey at all, when the Jets made the playoffs, they texted me being like, hey, where do I find white Jets stuff? Like when I worked at a sports store. And so I'm like, you said hockey's a joke. Like, why even texting me? They're like, I just want to be a part of this. It's the city. Everything gets together. People get caught up in it. But I don't consider that bandwagon. When you live in that city,
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to ignore it at that point. You're the outlier if you do ignore it, or you're that one fan who wears the pink shirt in row 1, lady. I'm just using that for game 3 example. There's one Jets fan who's wearing a bright pink shirt.
She was in game 4. She was at game 4
Game
too.
4 too. Okay, either way, they fixed it though in the second period because someone went and bought her a shirt because I didn't see her. I couldn't find her in the second period. So in between that first intermission, someone bought her a shirt and probably just been like, "Put it on." I don't want to. Put it on. Like, you get caught up in it. I don't blame them. I don't fault them. That's awesome. I think it's great.
It'd be hard not to too, because did you see all like the picture of like everyone outside the stadium
Oh, it's crazy.
or the rink? Or whatever you call
Well,
it?
just because I had some time today, I was looking at possibly going to Game 6. Not necessarily going to the game, but being in Nashville. It's only a 19-hour drive from my house. 19 hours and 26 minutes.
Okay.
Because flying is like, it's a 12-hour adventure because you have to fly from Winnipeg to like Chicago to Denver, then to Nashville. Like it's a gong show. The shortest route is like if I drove down to Minneapolis, and then it's still a 5-hour flight after that to go. So I'm like, well, it's 19 hours to just drive there. Drive there for $500 all in for gas and everything. And then stay at Airbnb for $300 or
Yeah, like all of those aren't taken already, but okay.
no, they're available.
Okay.
I looked all of it up.
Okay.
It's available. Airbnb.
And are
for
you
a couple
considering
nights.
doing this?
It's about $1,500.
You'll get to see the Stanley Cup in Game 6 when Pittsburgh wins it.
No, that's not what's happening. But regardless,
If they win game 5, I'd say go. Because if they
why
win
wouldn't
game
you?
6,
It's $1,500.
if they
to
win
go-
game 6, that town will go nuts. It's already a party town.
Yeah.
It's only going to get
Well,
10 times more.
The
fun.
best tweet was from Elliot Freeman, where he says, "Well, it looks like Game 6 is back in Nashville. My liver won't get much of a rest."
Well, especially like people like people like in the media. When you see them, you'd be like, "Oh, buy you a shot." In Nashville, like their arena is literally on like
Yeah.
the road where
Broadway Street.
There's 60 bars.
Yeah.
Like when they're like this, like the Red Mile in Calgary, they're like, "Oh yeah, we got like 20 bars. They're scattered out on this whole mile here." And Nashville's like, "Wall to wall bars, 5 miles." And you're like, "Oh my god, someone please, there's some trouble." They're having Battle of the Bands without even knowing it. That's what they're doing.
Well, yeah, and that's just because Nashville, hotbed for music. That's people are playing music at like 9 a.m. Just some guy starting out his first gig is like at this bar at like 9 a.m. on Stanley Cup Finals.
Yeah,
and
I know.
everyone's walking the streets. It's insane there. So it's nice to see. I hope this is what happens for other small markets. I wish Carolina would embrace their team this much. I don't think that's going to happen. And other teams as well. I'm sick of the people who claim that hockey isn't that popular and that it's better than the other 4 major sports. And as soon as somebody, a team that's non-traditional, starts taking the league by storm, their fandom and everything, they get mad about it. And they're like, "Oh, you don't know this random fact about this player, so then you're not as knowledgeable as I am," which I just think is bullshit.
Well, look at
No, just-
Charles Barkley even said that
Yeah.
the NHL playoffs are more exciting than the NBA because
Yeah.
you don't know who's going to win each game. You know exactly who's winning every game until the finals in the NBA.
One team hasn't lost
Yeah.
yet.
Yeah,
They're 12 and 0. No,
Yeah,
14
14
and
14 and 0.
it's crazy.
So between now and Game 5, there's a 3-day break. So 2-day break. But does this hurt Nashville's momentum? Because we saw there was a 2-day break last time, and you could almost say that hurt some of Pittsburgh's momentum. Does this hurt momentum having that type of break?
You never have momentum going from game to game any playoff series. At least what I've noticed, it doesn't matter how many days off they have.
Mm-hmm.
The momentum doesn't carry on game to game. Never mind period to period, really. So I don't think it does anything to either team. But going back to home ice, Pittsburgh's 2-0, so that might hurt them. Even though they've been a better team at Pittsburgh, but they're just winning games there.
Yeah, I'm pretty much with Matt on this one. At least from this playoff series, I haven't noticed momentum too much in terms of home ice, not home. Well, actually, in this series, I have. Me being greedy, I hope it does affect the Pittsburgh. I knew it, Cam. I knew it all along. I hope it does affect Preds, but even if Predators win Game 5 and you do end up going to Nashville, I would like for you to make a vlog series out
It
of it.
wouldn't. I don't think it would actually happen. I don't think I could do it. I would love to, but I
Well,
don't
not
know
with
if
that
I-
attitude. What did the great Kanye West once say?
I don't know.
No one man could have all that power. Clock's ticking, and it just struck the hour.
I'm glad you didn't rap it.
I-
I'm really glad you didn't rap it. I'm so happy.
I should have sang it to the tune of "O Canada." No one man could. I don't even.
To answer my own question, I think the only thing this hurts is any momentum this series had for television ratings. Like, I understand why they space them out. It's to make the playoffs run longer, and it's also to give players more of a rest. Because you look, every time they have to travel, they're getting an extra day off. But I also feel like it hurts the momentum of the series, and I think it hurts the momentum, not player-wise, but I think viewership-wise. I'd be more than geared up for a Game 5 that's tomorrow night. I understand that I have to wait till Thursday. I'm still going to watch it, but I'm just saying, from a casual fan standpoint, having hockey isn't a bad thing, especially when it's one of the knocks on the NBA is it's been so dragged out in the finals so far. Like, they've only played 2 games, and the finals were set before the NHL, like the same week the NHL finals were set.
But again, for scheduling,
Yeah, I
now
understand.
the finals, they don't want to conflict with the NHL, although they probably would blow them out of the water anyways.
Oh, ratings are
I
not
think.
even close. It's
But
not.
also, just arena availability.
No, I know
Because I'm
that.
sure. Well, we all.
Well, that's one of the things is I don't think it's necessarily the NBA conflicting with the NHL. I think it's the NHL conflicting with the NBA because NHL knows where they stand. They know they're the 4th of the 4 major sports.
they might
know
even
they're
be
not
4.5, like tied with MLS
Yeah.
in certain cities.
Yeah, no,
So-
and I definitely agree with that, and that's, but I don't know. I hate this time of year because there's not enough hockey on, but it's good hockey at least.
If you do go, I know we're just. If you
Okay.
do go, you have to buy a catfish.
Oh, I'm doing 2 things.
Or eat catfish.
No, there's 2 things I'm doing.
Catfish isn't great to eat. I wouldn't advise it. It's
I'm
not
buying a catfish.
Okay.
I'm naming him Kevin for
Okay.
Kevin Fiala.
Okay. Hashtag jerseys for Kevin. That's where you can get your jersey. Oh, can you
That's
buy
what
me?
I'm doing.
Can you buy me a shirt, a player tee?
Of Kevin Fiala, yes.
No.
Did you
I
see
want a
who was
Ryan
wearing?
Ellis one.
Did you see who was wearing a Kevin Fiala jersey?
The guy who's saying I don't know
Yeah,
who
Dirk
said.
Bentley.
Okay, that guy.
And me and Matt were like, "Is that a Kevin
I thought
Fiala
the
jersey?"
56. I'm like, maybe that's his age, his favorite number. He's aged fantastically if he is 56.
Yeah, and we're just like, "It's a Fiala jersey," and we just lost.
Did
it.
you guys see the pump up picture of like Ryan Johansson giving the team like he's
In
paused
there.
in motion?
Yeah.
I thought he had thigh surgery. I didn't know people had hops when they had thigh surgery. Milking an injury. Brian Johansson.
Yeah.
Start it now. Conspiracy theory. Oh wait.
And the other thing is,
Did
he
you
was-
guys hear about that one? What were
No.
you about? I'll let you go first.
I was going to say, on the note of Ryan Johansson, he was also named mayor of Nashville for, I think it was just for the day. For
That's
game,
fantastic.
on Monday. So, yeah, honorary mayor.
Well,
Ryan Johansson.
there was an article. I don't know who wrote it, but it was. Do you think, if need be, Chris Letang could return to series? And I'm like, didn't he have
It was
like?
Drager.
It was Darren Drager. So that's not nobody.
Drager
That's
said he,
somebody.
like there was a possibility of him like it wasn't a good possibility, but there was a chance of him coming back. And then Sullivan just totally shot that down today.
Okay, I didn't really. I mean, I got a little excited.
He's
but
only
I'm like,
he's in month 2 of his 4 to 6 month recovery. There's no way he comes back.
And he hasn't practiced. Like, it's Christopher Letang. He's one of the
still
best
better
players.
than any defenseman
Well,
Pittsburgh
yeah.
has right now.
Well, he even said his defense, like Mike Sullivan even said, his defense is less than perfect.
Well, yeah.
They're
That'd be
not.
hilarious if Chris Letang actually said because just one sentence to the other, he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm better than any one of these guys right now," and he's like in a boot, like full cast.
It's a neck injury. But
Oh,
that's
is
fine.
it? Okay.
Yeah.
No, there you
I'm
go.
pretty sure like if you got even
Neck
touched-
brace. I'm better than any of these guys in here. And then only Matt is like, "What did you say, Chris?" And he's like, "Who said that?" And he has to turn his shoulders.
Yeah,
to
it's
find
like
him.
the- it's
and
like
only
the
Matt is
Batman
hiding behind him.
It's like the Batman suit. Just I have to fully turn my head and chest.
Who said that? Who said that? Dean Lombardi suddenly in the room in a full Batman suit. Dean, what are you doing here? I need a job.
So the tease I had at the beginning of the game was also something Darren Dreger suggested. Do you believe, regardless of how this series turns out, do you believe this is the last season for Mike Fisher?
I thought he announced like 2 years ago or 3 years ago that he only had a few seasons left because he wants to start a family.
Yeah.
And I know we talked about it on the podcast. We were all like, oh yeah, if Carrie Underwood tells you she wants a family, you make that family. Like, that's what you do.
Well, yeah.
At least you practice.
And he can play with Dirk Bentley on a beer league team and have fun.
He can learn slide guitar. Actually, it's real hard, but I'm sure he will have time and just go on tour with Carrie Underwood. Yeah. And people would be like, "Oh, who's your rhythm guitarist?" He's like, "Oh, if they win the cup, even it'll be like former captain of Nashville Predator, they won a cup." And they're like, "Oh, you're not very good at guitar. You should have stayed
He's
in
using
hockey."
his Stanley Cup ring as the pick.
As the slide. Gee, it's big enough. They're monstrous. To answer your question, I think if they win, I would retire. He's 32. And I don't know. I think he's fantastic. He's proven to be a great leader. Like once he steps down, I mean Ryan Ellis is going to be a fantastic captain. So no, I wouldn't pick Ryan Ellis. I'd probably pick Roman Josi would be my pick. But to answer your question, if they win, yes, I think he should retire. No,
also
he's still got
how old did you say he was?
He's 32, isn't he?
He's 37. But
Mike Fisher. My bad. Dang. Then yeah. Retire Mike Fisher.
He's already played over 1,000. He's played 1,088 games in which he has 585 points and 807 penalty minutes.
9 Stanley Cup Final games now.
Yeah, and was drafted second round, 44th overall by the Ottawa Senators. In the
He's only played for
draft.
2 teams, right? Ottawa and Nashville.
And Nashville, yep. And then before that, played for the Sudbury Wolves and the Peterborough Bees in the OPJHL. Not sure.
He played for Sudbury? Oh, I thought the
for
Pete's. Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
No, Peterborough Bees.
I want to know, has there been an interview? If you're hearing this and you know what, send me the link, please, to Last Man NPC Twitter or Cam Homeish. Because has Carrie Underwood and Mike Fisher ever come out and say like the first time they met and like how it happened? Because I just remember the Ottawa days where like she was in a box and they showed her and then she hit the deck. Because she didn't want to be seen.
I remember that.
And
too.
I'm like, that's the worst thing. That's like going on the internet and being like, I don't want this video out there. Remove it. And the internet's like, oh, no. That's not how this thing works. Never.
Oh, you know that president of the United States? Yeah, we did that. That was us.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did that. So you think that you're going away? No.
Did you hear about, well, I saw it like off-brand comedy, but...
March 3rd from Country Livin', how Carrie Underwood and Mike Fisher met.
Oh, wow.
From
So it
Country
didn't take
Living.
long. Okay, I'll find that.
And People's Magazine did something.
Fantastic.
The relationship timeline.
Okay, so I just haven't
You can
actually
legitimately
searched it.
look it up.
Okay, I'll look it up then. I got it. No need to send it. Did you
No,
hear
but
that?
send him hilarious cat pictures.
That's okay, I'm okay.
A lot of cat pictures. All
Yep.
the cat pictures.
Yeah, for sure.
To at Homeish, that is spelled HOLMYISH. Once
There you
again, HOLMYISH. Cat pictures, especially kittens. He loves kittens.
Sure don't. But you can.
All the cats.
Did you hear that it was his birthday recently? Like Mike Fisher during
Yeah.
the Stanley Cup Finals? And Carrie Underwood's like, oh, I'm waiting to give him his presents. And I saw someone retweet, they're like, oh, he's getting some smash! Like,
Well,
it's just so
did you
ridiculous.
guys see the video that came up last night from one of the local broadcasts in Nashville? They were just talking about Game 4 and how Nashville won, and there's just two people like making out super hard behind him on camera, and he's just like he's trying not to laugh because I guess he can see it in
the monitor, yeah.
And he's like, oh god, and he keeps talking, and then he just turns, looks at them, and he's like, clearly it's gonna be a good night. They're celebrating already, and then like, just ends it. And it's like that's hilarious, and it's just, and then someone tweeted, they're like, this gives Smashville a whole new meaning.
I'm loving it. Okay, to bring it way back, I do like the fans. They're fantastic. I like all the celebrity singers, but I think I would give it to Game 6 guy. I would give it to, what's his name again?
The announcer?
I totally just forgot.
The original announcer?
The original anthem singer.
By the way, the best thing
Dennis K. Morgan.
Dennis K. Morgan.
The best thing they do is with a minute left in every period, the announcer always goes, and there's a minute left in the first period, and the fans yell, thanks, Paul, because that's the announcer's
Their college atmosphere, like, of course, it's like, what's that? Like the goalie chant. It's
Murray.
Like, no, but they do Murray, and
It's
then
all your
Their
fault.
fault.
You suck.
No, it's Murray, you suck, it's all your fault, it's all your fault.
Oh, and then you suck, probably, right?
No, Murray, you suck, it's all your fault, it's all your fault, it's all your fault. And then normally what they do as well is I saw this from outside is they will chant like 1, 2, 3, like the number of goals that you've let into. They do that sometimes.
Oh, dang.
But all that was taken from a college
of
hockey
course.
team originally.
Well-
That was, I think it was in Michigan somewhere. I'm not sure if it was Michigan or Eastern Michigan or something like that.
Well, Michigan has a lot of hockey teams. So, I
A
mean,
lot.
I wouldn't,
Yeah,
but
so
I
it's-
for sure came from college.
That's where that started. I don't know if someone just brought that over, but the fact that that's what's basically, like, everyone notices it. Everyone has fallen in love with it. I've fallen in love with it. Like,
I think it's hilarious.
yeah.
I was looking into other
And it's
weird,
not offensive like some people feel it is. Like,
Well-
get your...
other weird random chants. There's just one specifically I want to talk about. I don't know if this was only for one season, but the Carolina Hurricanes, they had a chant at one point. It seems like it was a few years ago based off the video I saw, where when one of their players takes a penalty, the crowd goes, "Cheaters never win!" Okay, I just want to break down this. You're booing your own player, but also with a sentence that doesn't really make sense. Like, I get that cheating, in a way, is a penalty because it's illegal, but, like, what? How does that build up? Imagine seeing that in the Carolina Stanley Cup Final this year. Jordan Staal takes a penalty, and they're like, "Oh, Jordan Staal, 2 minutes hooking," and the whole arena, instead of being like, "Make some noise for the penalty kill," they're like, "Hey, Jordan, cheaters never win!" What?
That's
What?
a chirp towards the other team. Like, you could say that to the other team, but you can't say that.
Yeah. I thought that was just the one that I saw that I'm like, that's weird. That's a bad one.
So, the other thing I was going to lead off with the chant thing. Do you think there's going to be one idiot in Winnipeg or a couple that are going to try to start it in Winnipeg next year?
I think a lot of fans in every arena are going to try and start that. I think that's going to... They're going to try to make it a thing, but I hope it doesn't become... Like,
No.
That's Nashville's thing. Just leave it alone, like...
Yeah, just like we always make up chants, like saying certain players are better than other players, even though it might not necessarily be true.
And then you double dip the same
the
season.
Crosby's
Yeah.
better was fantastic when Ovie was here.
I still think my two favorites are the Crosby's better when Ovie was here, and the silver medal because I was at both those games.
Me too.
And
I was lucky enough to see
Mario's pool boy was pretty good.
I
too,
didn't
on
go to that
Crosby.
game, but yeah, I missed actually. I was there for Malkin's debut in Winnipeg. Have yet to see Crosby play in my.
I saw Crosby. I think he only played the first or second game. I've seen Crosby twice now. But the first time, he stood out obviously because he's Crosby, but was Evgeny Malkin. Because on paper, at the time, Malkin and Scheifele were listed as the same height, same weight. And when they went to go take the face-off, even in warm-up, I'm like, wait, who is that guy? Oh my God, he's huge. And then they're like,
Gino.
that's Gino. And then I was with Carey, so we were close enough, like we were row 5, so it was right in front of us. And Gino and Scheifele, and I'm like, oh, that's a man bear pig. That's a baby boy. Like, that guy's huge. There's no way these two people are the same.
guy.
Yeah.
Remember, Pig did this.
I do hope.
Taking those children hostage.
Yeah, no, leave it to your own. It's awesome when, like, you don't steal stuff. Edmonton Oilers, Orange Crush, but whatever. I get it because
At
the
least
Flyers took it from a company. So,
Okay, to move away from it, what do we predict for Game 5? Game 5 and Game 6, because we won't convene before that's over.
okay, if I'm going,
Yeah.
Pittsburgh's winning the Cup in Nashville in 6 games. Jakey Gensman will finish the series with, how many does he have right now? 13? 16. He's got 3 goals in the next 2 games.
I say Game 7.
No, I'm saying what's happening in Game 5 and 6.
Because
Game
we'll
5 and
convene
6,
before.
then they go back and forth. Pittsburgh wins 5, Nashville wins 6. It's going to Game 7.
Same belief. Pittsburgh wins Game 5 in overtime, and we'll have an awesome goaltender interference call because we love the
Because
reviews.
Nashville doesn't get those either.
Yeah. And then Game 6, I think they'll come back and they'll dominate.
You'll
I think
tell us
they'll
how
play-
that is when you vlog your trip.
I'll let you guys know when I'm standing there with millions of people. It's thousands.
Wait, how many?
It's like 50,000 people.
Ah, Greg,
Or, like, outside
no! You said millions.
Yeah.
And millions! The Rock.
yeah,
Come
I know.
on. Dan would have been all over that if he was here. I had to cover up for him.
So Game 5 and 6. Cam's saying ends in 6. You're saying ends in 7. I'm saying it's going to be Game 7 that goes next Wednesday. But I'm excited if my dream can come true. It's Nashville wins in 6, so they win in front of those fans, which would be great. Mike Fisher ends his career winning in front of the city that he loves, in front of the woman that he loves, and the woman that he's going to bear a child, have a child with.
bear
Shortly-
a child with. Gino's like, yeah, that's how you do it, right? Get out of here, Gino. What are you doing?
And I think it would be a good moment for Fiala and Johansson. Yeah. It would be a good moment for Fiala and Johansson as well.
Yeah. Oh, okay. If it ends in 6, then
Yeah.
Conn Smythe. Oh, people were looking into this. Friedman tweeted, there can be 2 players who win a Conn Smythe.
But they need to be different positions.
Different positions. So Matt Murray, Fleury cannot win it. Only one of them they can share it with. So I want Murray and Jacob Bake to win it. So I can have 2 players. Cover all bases.
Personally, regardless of who wins the series, I think it's hard for anybody on Nashville to compete for Conn Smythe right now. Like, I think Rene's been... He's had those...
If Nashville wins, it's Rene.
Yes, but I still think that, Jake Gensel is giving a very good showing that he probably deserves it.
You know what, if he continues scoring, because he's scored in almost... He didn't score last game.
He didn't score yesterday.
Only
No.
Crosby,
It was only
right?
Crosby. On an amazing...
Well, if he continues to do what he does, like Gensel, he'll win. But the thing is Crosby scored. Crosby is known to just get hot all of a sudden.
Well, and again, like when
He
you're
also
giving,
didn't score last year.
when
at,
you're giving,
Stanley Cup Finals.
oh sorry,
He finally did it.
And he finally scored, but he also won Conn Smythe last year for not scoring in the finals.
when you're, but then again, here that helps my case. When you're giving away a best player on the ice award, because technically that's what Conn Smythe is, and you have Evgeny Malkin and Sidney Crosby, how do you look past that and being like, no, you know what, Jake, you were the best. They're only pretty much that good because of the Gino and Malkin. So that's why
Gino and Malkin.
Yes, correct.
Yeah,
That
okay.
one guy.
Just wanted
Yeah. No, but that's why last year I was pissed that Kessel didn't win, but then I'm like, I heard the argument of that where it's like, well, how do you look past Crosby and Gino? And you're like, I was like, oh, that's okay. That's a great point. I'm overlooking that for sure. Nonetheless, all right, what's next?
Next, Kovalchuk possible return. We're hearing more and more rumors about it. And there was a certain insider or analyst that had mentioned the Toronto Maple Leafs as a potential suitor or a team interested, based on a connection of Lou Lamoriello, and the media is having a field day with it. The amount of articles I've seen from TSN and Sportsnet about the possible Kovalchuk playing in Toronto, I hate the idea. I don't want him on Toronto. I also think that they don't have interest because even Lamoriello is they've said that they have very minimal interest, if any, on bringing him onto that team.
This is why everyone hates Toronto.
Yeah, I know.
Friedman just spurts it out because that's who it was. Friedman just kind of said it during the game. It's like, oh, okay, well, Kovalchuk might come back, and here's 4 teams, and all of them happen to be guys that had the Devils. He played with the Devils because it's Pete DeBoer with San Jose is one of the suitors. St. Louis with Broder is one of the suitors, and then Toronto's there just because Lamoriello signed him to a 15-year deal, and it's like, okay, Toronto does not want him. There's no way they can fit his cap under after this 2 years. He's gonna want more than a 2-year contract. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
And there's Toronto. I mean, they're so deep with young, talented players that if they sign Kovalchuk, they're bumping people down the depth chart at that point. I think. What are they not? They're strong in wings. They're not deep down the center, are they? Is that what I'm thinking?
Well, no, they're deep anyway. They need a couple more wingers because if you think realistically, Marner's natural position is center, Nylander's original position is center, and you can normally get a second or third line center somewhere in free agency. Like, there's a huge rumor right now with Toronto that they're going to go after Joe Thornton, but I want to talk about that when we talk about free agency during the draft and that kind of thing. Not focus on it now. But I just...
Joe Thornton will never go there because he won't shave his beard. Done. That rumor's done.
But no.
That rumor's done.
Hold on, because he's already a vet, though. He's established. Lou will change a bit of the
Lou
rules.
will not change his rules.
Sure he will.
There's no way. That
I still think
done.
that is the dumbest rule. I just...
Oh, you think that's the dumbest rule? You want to sell... You already sell crazy amount of jerseys. You know what millennials love nowadays and kids playing hockey? Stupid numbers on jerseys. They look silly, but they're awesome. Nylander doesn't want to wear 29. He wants 92. We all know it. He looks awesome in 92. It looks so cool.
I think it looks good.
But anyways, what were you getting at? Where do you think do you think
one of the teams apparently with a lot of interest is the Columbus Blue Jackets, is what I've heard, and it makes a little bit of sense, to be honest.
What they're looking for is that sniper that they need.
They
right?
need another depth guy. They need another depth scorer, and top line scorer, and that's what he can do. And I think that to me is a good fit for them.
Is he still a top line scorer though?
He was second in KHL in scoring.
Well, yeah, but it's a different game over there completely.
But he's still putting points up somehow.
I still think he'll be top.
Well, how many points did Datsuk have this year? Datsuk was only going downhill.
Datsuk was his centerman, actually.
So probably a lot of points.
Okay. Yeah, they're on the same line. It's one of those things where I could see him coming here and still being a 60-point guy.
He's a top 6 guy. Wherever he goes, he's top 6.
Probably top 3.
The issue I have with Columbus is part of Ilya's contract negotiations is he's like, I'm getting 17 or 71. Well, guess what? Dubinsky's like, no. And then Foligno's like, hell no. I think he's going to Florida.
To play with Yager?
I didn't think about that. I'm just thinking
I don't think Yager comes back. I think Yager will end up somewhere else if they get Kovalchuk.
Come on.
Where is, if you guys had to pick one spot, where do you think Kovalchuk would land?
Honestly, seriously, I think Florida would be a sweet option for him.
I could see the Rangers somehow getting him.
The Montreal Canadiens is my far-fetched pick. They're
All
already
right.
going after one Russian. Why not go after another?
That team drives me crazy.
Because Mark Bergevin is...
He's a terrible... You're going all in with it when you're trading Subban for Weber, but then you won't go all in with it and go get a center. They don't have a number one center, but they just won't go and trade for one.
No, because we got to keep Sergachev. We have to keep Sergachev.
It drives me crazy.
Well, I think it drives everyone crazy. I don't think anyone...
I don't even
truly
want them to do
understands
good. I don't want them to do good because I don't like Montreal. But the fact that you're just ruining that team because you can't commit to either being for right now or for the future, I don't get it.
They are in the same position that the Toronto Maple Leafs were for a lot of years. They're in the same position that Vancouver found themselves in 2 years ago, where they're at the tail end of a good team, and they don't know where to go from here. They're trying to hang on by making signings and moves like Vancouver made, like the Luongo deal, like bringing in Dan Hamhuis and Keith Ballard, which are okay deals. But at the end of the day, I don't you look at that entire Atlantic Division, I wouldn't be surprised if Montreal misses the playoffs next year.
Okay, well, who's coming? Tampa's
going to win that division. Florida's going to be better than they were.
Yeah.
You'll have an older Toronto. Ottawa's got experience there. And then on top of that, you also have a pretty strong Boston team. And who knows what Buffalo's going to do. I don't see Montreal. Montreal might get a wild card spot. Then you also have to think, could 5 teams from the Metro make playoffs?
They could actually drop from first this year to be last in their division next year.
It all depends on Carey Price and how well he plays, and it depends on what level of play Sergachev brings them. Because Sergachev's playing for them next year. He's not going to benefit from another year in junior, or he's playing with them next year. They have to make that decision. Apparently, right now, one of the big rumors is Matt Duchene is on his way out. Who did I see him going to and for what?
Probably again Montreal for Michael McCarron and a second round pick.
No, it was for a defenseman. It just seemed very undervalued.
Noah Hannafin, Carolina?
No, because I wouldn't actually okay with that.
Carolina deals with Duchene in them too.
Well, because they're about to.
Actually, I saw one today, and I was watching TSN radio, just on TSN app, and it was Craig Button and Gordon Miller talking, and it was Gordon Miller brought it up that it was Tavares for Sergachev, Galchenyuk, some goalie prospect, and a first round pick.
Yeah.
Fair value? Probably. Will they do it? Definitely not, because they just don't know what direction to go into.
Well, yeah, I think if I'm the Islanders, I think that's a pretty... I'm looking at that, I'm saying I'm getting a top... that's who it was. Matt Duchene for Travis Hamonic. That was the deal.
There he is. I found him.
That guy on that magazine there. No, but I think that's a fair value trade because then you can explore the option if you're New York and they need to retool there. What's happened there, it doesn't work. They've given away guys like Matt Molson, Kyle Okposo for nothing and signing guys like Andrew Ladd. Their model hasn't worked. They need to change. Bringing in a guy like Galchenyuk is a great step in the right direction. Bringing in an explosive, dynamic defenseman like Mikhail Sergachev is a great option as well. And you lose a guy that you're going to have to pay big money to next season.
Let's call it a boatload.
And I think it's a win-win. And the other thing is, there's no guarantee that Tavares signs with the Montreal Canadiens after that one season.
Would you? I wouldn't.
Here's the other thing. I believe that Price is also done at the end of. He's done in 2 years.
No, he's done after
this year.
After this year coming up.
This year coming up.
They can sign him to an extension this year.
Both Tavares and him would be up at the same time.
They're not going to have enough money for both of them.
And you got to make that decision. What do you do in that situation? And then you got to think about Pacioretty. Like, they have Montreal, and this is something we can talk about in the offseason. They have a very tough season coming up.
Where is all their cap? I don't see where their talent, like their money goes. Like,
14
Gallagher's
million.
actually on a good contract for what he does. Like, he's at like what, 3.5.
I think he's at
it is a fantastic contract Gallagher has. But then and Pacioretty's on a fantastic contract. Carey Price is on a good contract. Where's all this money? Yeah, Weber's at 9.5 or whatever.
7.5.
7.5.
But his cap hit is only like 2 to 3 because
his salary is 2 to 3. His cap hit's 7.5.
Oh, right, because they pay him out.
Yeah, you make the same amount of money. Your cap hit's the same, but your money is different.
July 1st every year, Shea Weber goes and buys a Lambo every year.
His signing bonus is like $14 million. It's insane.
And Paul Holmgren calls him and he's like, "You're welcome, Shea." And he hangs up.
He probably does.
Unknown caller ID, and Shea's like, "Oh, Paul doesn't think I have his phone number." Hello? Shea Weber speaking. I love you, Shea. We'll be together again. Have a good day. I'm like,
the other thing is
they would never word again.
They also just signed Andreas Martinsen for a 1 year, $925,000 throw-out contract. But I don't know if Bergevin doesn't realize this, but Martinsen is protected under the expansion draft rules, and everyone's saying that he was signed for expansion draft reasons.
Is Montreal going to be the team who get pooched good at the expansion draft? Because they were like, no, we can protect that guy. And Vegas was like, no, you can't. Gary. And Gary's like, I'm siding with George McPhee on this one. I'm sorry, you lose Carey Price.
Okay.
And they're like, no!
So here are their current contracts. Pacioretty at $6 million. Plekanec at $6 million.
Yeah, I was going to say Pacioretty's at like
Pacioretty's at 4.5.
Yeah.
Then you have Andrew Shaw at 3.9. You have Brendan Gallagher at 3.75, and then you drop to 1.2 for Torrey Mitchell, Paul Byron's at 1.17, and then you go under $1 million after that. But they have to sign Radulov, Galchenyuk, and Brian Flynn. Then you look defensively. They have Weber at 7.86. You have Petrie, probably one of the worst signings in recent history, at 5.5.
Hold on, we did this.
And
we did this to Clefbaum.
Alexei Emelin at 4.1. And then, RFA, Nathan Beaulieu. If I am Toronto, if I'm Winnipeg, I am putting out an offer sheet on him. Why? Good value, young defenseman, and Montreal doesn't want him.
Beaulieu, Galchenyuk, and Radulov, they got to pay this year?
Yeah.
Woo!
There's actually a guy on TSN Radio, I think it was a week ago, who said we should trade Perreault for Beaulieu. Straight up. Just get rid of that contract.
That's not a bad deal.
It works out for both teams.
Yeah.
And then
they get a French guy, so you're not really going to get that upset.
I don't think anyone wears 85.
No.
And then
it's retired, actually. Already.
And then all you do is protect all your defensemen then. Because it's 8 skaters, right? You protect the 5D, Morrissey's exempt. And then you just protect Scheifele, Wheeler, Little. You're going to lose one of Lowry and Armia, which I don't like.
Who are the five?
Probably gonna lose
Then you protect Beaulieu,
You take Beaulieu as would be your 5th defenseman that you'd have to protect.
Or
and
you do what I've been saying all along and buy out Tobias Enstrom.
I think that's something they have to
Nose is too far up in the air for them to buy out anyone. They're not going to do it. That's I'm standing. I'll die.
I understand that.
Players learn how to play on the left side.
The thing for me is if I'm not smarter than Cheveldayoff. He has his plan. If I was, all I'm saying is if I were to take the team over, and they gave me the keys and they said, what are you going to do for us for the expansion draft? The first thing I say is buy out Tobias Enstrom. You say thank you for your service. You were a tremendous player, but however, because of this situation and the fact that you won't waive is why we're doing this. It's a business move. You have to treat it like a business decision. You have to make hard decisions in this industry. Tobias Enstrom could be the nicest guy in the world. He could be the guy that saves your grandma from dying after she gets hit by a car and does everything for her, pays for her medical pills, all that stuff. He could be the nicest guy, but at the end of the day, you still have to make that tough business decision and say to him, and say thank you, but we have to go in a different direction. and you have to do it respectfully because that's your organization. But at the same time, you have to be able to do it properly.
Well, yeah, because protecting 7 forwards would help tremendously because you're only looking at protecting 4.
And it also saves you cap room this year, and it doesn't really hurt you for cap room next year. You have $2.5 million or 2.75.
They're gonna have a lot of room to play with.
They have tons of room, and on top of that, depending on what their goaltending situation is, if they don't have a lot of money to put towards a starting goalie, like that's more money you can spend. Because not everyone's the Dallas Stars, where you have close to $15 million or over $15 million dedicated to 3 different goalies. I know I want to touch on the expansion draft, but I think this is a little bit more important as it's gained a lot of traction with main media and hockey. Is the potential for the Washington Capitals to move Alexander Ovechkin?
Guys, I don't want to say I was the first one, but I did suggest it.
Okay.
Ovechkin is gonna be a Philadelphia Flyer.
I was saying Dallas Star.
Now, how it happens?
We can go around the table and think who he can go to.
You trade the 2nd overall pick. No, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. Nick Schultz, I'm sorry, you're going to Washington. That's already too sweet of a deal. But also, you know what? We'll be a little nice. I guess we'll throw in Jakub Voracek's contract too. Just a contract. You get to keep him.
You get that $7.5 million.
It's $8.25 million.
Oh, $8.25. Sorry.
Get it right, okay? How dare you?
Sorry.
Yeah. This is crazy, and I like how whoever originally did the interview, where they didn't say we're against Ovechkin. It's we'll listen, and I'm like, you're gonna listen. Why are you listening? It's Ovechkin, and they're like, yeah, well, the window's closing. I'm like, oh, why? He's still got 4 or 5 years of at least 35 goals.
So you're saying the window is closing for one of the best scorers of all time, and you want to trade him. You want to be that team that says, here, take Ovechkin. It's the same thing that Toronto did with Kessel, and they're like, well, he's not going to perform anywhere, and goes to Pittsburgh, and he was integral in that team.
The problem is he can't lead the team.
Yeah, he shouldn't be captain.
He shouldn't be captain.
It should be Backstrom, or it should be...
No, hold
and
on.
you look at guys like Brett Hull, where was he at first? Was he St. Louis?
St. Louis.
Never won anything there. Goes to Dallas.
Even with one of the best St. Louis teams, with I think Turgeon was on that team along with Wayne Gretzky, and still couldn't win with that team.
Exactly.
Was John Kerry in it for them that year?
Wasn't it Jim Carrey?
Jim Carrey. No, I think there was a John Kerry.
Oh, was it? No, I know what you're thinking of. Hold on, guys. We're overlooking everything. He's not a leader, right? What team do we know of every time there's cap problems? Well, actually, we talked about
Montreal
it
Canadiens?
No. Where the league's the whole league, all the teams are here, I saw a tweet, I used it from this week. With, how we talked about Marcus Kruger and Trevor Van Riemsdyk going to Vegas? Because Vegas is now officially an NHL team because they're helping Chicago retool again. Guess what? Ovie's going to Chicago. Washington's going to pay 2/3 of his salary, and Chicago's going to give up nothing. They're going to give up absolutely nothing to get Ovechkin, and then they're going to go on another mini dynasty. My brain's stopping. It was there the whole time. I knew it. I could see it.
This is what will happen. Is somehow Marian Hossa will be traded straight up for Alexander Ovechkin, and it'll just be swapping 2 players because why not?
Fair value, right? Both of their careers are over.
No.
Watch Hossa pop 70. You're like, whoa, what? No.
Where do you think if you were to trade Ovechkin, where do you think he would go?
I'd bring him to Dallas. You could send that 3rd overall pick. You send Cody Eakin, and then maybe a cap dump of some sort to kind of even out the salaries. And then, could you imagine Ovechkin just calling Nichushkinin, or whatever the hell his name is?
Valery Nichushkin.
Yeah, just being like, hey, I'm on Dallas now, come play. And he's like, fucking right, it's Ovie. Coming back to Dallas.
Actually, Ovie just calls his house in Russia.
Yeah.
And Nichushkin's like, hey, Ovie, what's up? How's it going? He's like, no, I forgot the code to your house alarm. That's why it went off. He's like, I'm not calling you about that, Valerie. I don't care about that. We'll talk about that later. Do you want to come back to Dallas real quick?
I don't think that solves the issue of Dallas needing defense and needing to dump some goalies.
Ovie can play defense. His window's closing, so he's learned to adapt. This offseason, he's playing D. He's actually spending all of his time with Dmitry Orlov and Karl Alzner. He's paying Alzner and Orlov to teach him how to play D. That's what we're learning. Fun fact, is he a lefty or a righty?
Righty.
He's now lefty, actually. He plays with a straight blade. He's Gordie Howe. He's Gordie Howe now. That's what he is.
Okay.
What about you?
So I have my theory here.
Go. Here we go. Let's have it.
It's going to Toronto.
No.
Oh my God.
I would fucking love that.
No!
Him
You can't
and
even wear...
Matthews. Him and Matthews.
Oh! Did you see Matthews got a lion tattoo with the king
I didn't see
crown
that.
on the lion?
Didn't see that.
No.
I'm trying to figure out the symbolism, but the only thing I saw was the mascot.
ran a 3-page story on it.
Probably did.
The mascot of the LA Kings retweeted. He's
No
like,
one wants
"Thank
to-
you, Austin. I'm very honored." Because
But-
Bailey.
Like I said at the start of the podcast, the reason why the Toronto Maple Leafs are so successful is because they're so easy to hate, and people click on those articles to hate them, to hate on them.
I actually have like 4 or 5 different
Blues are 95
profiles, and I'm just like, "Oh, I hate the Leafs," but how I do it is I just headbutt my keyboard 4
So
or 5
is
times
that-
and then hit enter.
Is that what you do when you're commenting under Luke as well?
No, actually,
you sign into a different account.
You
and
got
then
me red-handed. It's me.
Yeah.
I knew it.
Okay.
Someone actually commented on a video 2 weeks ago. They were just like, "Oh, loving the content," and then I believe they said "fuck Boston" because they were a Canucks fan. And then they mentioned they're like, "Where's Cam? I mean Luke. Where you at, man? I miss you."
Oh, that's hilarious.
Oh, it gave me a great laugh. I loved it.
Yeah. The team that I would say he goes to.
Here we go. Warm up that fire. Stoke it. All right, it's go time. What is it?
Nashville Predators.
For what?
You can move defensemen because they're losing Karl Alzner this year.
Okay.
I believe that they're also losing one more guy.
Orlov's an RFA.
Okay. You can. Chances probably are that after this season, you're going to have to give Roman Josi a lot of money. You can try to keep that core together, but they have an abundance of young talent at the wing position to give away. They have guys like Zach Smith and Colin Wilson who would do wonders as depth players for Washington, and they're already losing TJ Oshie. Like, honestly, if Nashville doesn't win this year, I think that next year Poyle should go all in and go after a guy like Oshie, go after Shattenkirk.
And we've seen it before. Poyle's willing to do it. He's
Yeah.
like, "Oh yeah, no, I want to win, so let's
'Cause
just do this."
why-
And he's just,
why
bam.
wouldn't-
No,
why-
like he doesn't even hesitate when he's a sniper. He's like, "Hey, at the ready." They're like, "We didn't even write down the coordinates. Come on."
What's the one knock on the Predators especially this year, is depth at scoring. Why not, if they lose this year, why not go out and go get one of a good scorer, a good offensive player in
Or like
TJ Oshie?
Yossi and/or Ellis, or like
No, but he's a
Yossi Ellis.
UFA.
Yeah. Oh,
Oshie's
this
a-
year.
Yeah, Oshie's a UFA this year.
Whoa.
Yeah.
What if?
And they can
They
also get
win
Justin
in
Williams.
6, and then in the 48-hour buyout period, they trade and get Ovie, and then Ovie's just in the cup parade. They vote him in, and they give him the name on the cup. Then he gets a ring.
Yeah.
No, we can't do that. No, we can't do that.
I also saw a tweet yesterday referring to when Philip Forsberg scores his first goal against Las Vegas, and it'll go full circle. And
Why?
Because George McPhee. He traded Philip Forsberg for Martin Erat. That was him. He traded that.
Oh no.
He did that deal.
Yeah, but he thought at the time
That it was going to work.
See, that's why sometimes you have to
Hindsight.
think about pulling the trigger.
Yeah.
David Poyle has already thought of everything. He's like, he sees the Matrix, and he's like, "I'm in. Let's do it."
Guy that won Twitter last night was Roberto Luongo, who said, "I'll be disappointed if I don't hear Luongo, you suck next year, at least once."
I'm surprised he's probably heard it before. He just doesn't pay that much attention.
No, and the thing is like with that whole chant, like people are like, "That's offensive. You're making fun of them." No, it's a chant, and the players have all kind of said, "We don't care." Like Matt Murray's like, "I love it. It's great. It's hilarious."
Well, even we use Winnipeg again because we're here. Katy Perry chant, Corey Perry. He was smiling. He thought it was hilarious. He's like, God, Katy Perry. They think I suck, but I'm in all of these people's heads. 15,000, and then the Jets. I'm here. I'm doing it.
And that's
It's
what
fantastic.
he is. He's in everyone's head.
Yeah.
And he's good at being in everyone's head.
Yeah.
So, I think I would be shocked if Washington Capitals actually did it. Wouldn't surprise me if George McPhee's just like, well, I could try to get him 4th overall pick and all,
Oh, Ovie.
Yeah, could try to just swindle a couple deals here and there.
God, what if he got Kovalchuk? He's already got Shipachyov. They signed Dadonov. They get him, and then
They sign Radulov.
They sign Radulov.
And then Datsuk just decides he wants
Wait.
to
Datsuk come back, and then they get Orlov. They'll be the Russian 8 or whatever. They're just
and then they somehow find a way to sign Bobrovsky. Steal from Pekulak.
And then they don't
And
even.
Brizgalov as the backup.
Yes.
No, Brizgalov will be he'll be the play-by-play guy, like color commentator. But they won't even play anthems. They'll play the Russian national anthem like a
From all the Russia. And actually, the thing is, Vladimir Putin has one spot in the arena where he sits for every single game, and he just sits there. He's like, "This is my spot."
All you can see is his eyes.
Yeah,
He sits in a box.
Yeah, exactly.
His shifty eyes, looking left and right.
Every once in a while, you see a Donald Trump-looking figure coming in there, shaking his hand, saying "Thank you for the election." No, I'm just kidding.
Did you guys see the video of Putin playing hockey where he scored like 14 goals and everyone goes near him and then skates away? He's like, I'm not touching him. I don't want to die.
Yeah, exactly. Because that guy could be like, oh well, number 16, he poke checked me. Murder. Murder.
I didn't know you were in the next tax bracket. He's like, no, I'm not. He's like, that's not what it says in your $3 million bank account. That I don't know where that came from. But you owe a lot of taxes now. And, what?
Oh, so it says here that you've been making $14 million for the last 10 years. Well, that's some tax evasion. That's 25 years, I believe. Oh, my daughter. Oh, you looked at her, did you? You raped her.
Whoa, easy, Greg. Enough of that. That's not acceptable.
Completely acceptable.
No jokes. We learned Daniel Tosh isn't allowed to make those jokes, so no one else is allowed to make those jokes.
Either everything's funny or nothing's funny.
Well, nothing is funny in this world. It's so cold.
Yeah, so to finish off, obviously, 2
Greg's
weeks away
kills
from
jokes. Just kidding.
2 weeks away from the expansion draft.
Yep.
Here we are. We've made it. 3 weeks, actually.
Next podcast. Are you ready?
3 weeks away.
Pittsburgh Penguin Cup champions.
Nope. I disagree. But if you want to, give us your take on who you think is going to win the Stanley Cup Final, where you think Ovechkin's going to go, anything that we talked about today on the podcast, whatever topic it might be, leave a comment down below on YouTube. Email us at lastminutepodcast@gmail.com or tweet us on Twitter at lastminutepc. And remember to send at homeish, HOLMYISH, cat pictures. All the cat pictures. And if you can take photos of or videos of cats and send it to him, it would be hilarious. It would make his day. So remember, you can tweet at the show at lastminutepc, but you can also get to Cam by tweeting at him at homeish. That's spelled HOLMYISH, cat pictures. And you can also check us out anywhere you get your podcast, whether that be iTunes, podcast app, or the Google Store. Check us out there. Last Minute Podcast is how you find us. If you want to listen on that platform or watch the video, it's Last Minute Podcast on YouTube. So thank you very much for watching, and until next week, go Preds go.